welcome to the Kia Sportage. Sportage, one of the two. I know you were expecting the Abarth to be next, as was I. However, it needed a new clutch and flywheel. But don't worry, this car here will suffice. Got to look like a Kia Sportage driver now. You know, the dad of obviously whatever's going on. Right, this car is going to be a bit different. Let's get out of here. Okay, this Kia, I'll be perfectly honest with you, has really caught me off guard, and not in a good way. My experience with Kia clearly showed, because I have quite a similar opinion to everyone else. I bought this car with the intention of thinking, do you know what, this thing will go pretty quickly. And let's go through the positives first. It is a very practical family car. I drove this last night to Birmingham, and I took my whole family with me. So that's all the kids in the back. It's a full boot full of toys, Moses basket, pram, all that kind of stuff. Not amazing, but it fit everything in. And we were all comfortable, no one was squashed. We drove it on the motorway, it's got cruise control, that made a big difference, obviously. I'll be honest, when I first picked up this car, it was vibrating like anything on the motorway, and I thought, well, it could be a wheel balancing, it could be something, I'm hoping not suspension related. Thankfully, when I went to go and have a look and see what it was, it turns out that 3 of the tires were just really, really bad nick. Didn't mess about, got 4 new tires all around. As soon as the 4 new tires went on, it's whisper quiet, smooth, no vibrations, nothing. So that was a lovely, lovely, easy fix. And the car feels so much better now as well. You know, there's a lot of rain, everyone slows down to 30 miles an hour on the motorway, which makes you question life. Had no issue at all. Everything was nice and clean and clear. As always, I've changed the windscreen wipers because they were streaking, and I can't accept that. Even if they're streaking, I have to change it. I'm sorry, I'm so fanatical when it comes to little details like that. If I spot a streak, it needs changing. So they've all been changed. And that made a big difference, to be honest, last night on the motorway when it was chucking it down. We live in the UK at the end of the day. It's not exactly like we're living in Hawaii. So yeah, windscreen wipers, for the sake of like 20, 30 quid, it's worth changing them. I do not understand how the majority of cars I get hold of, the windscreen wipers just happen to always be bad. Nobody changes them. You live in the UK, change your wipers every now and then. For the sake of 20, 30 quid, it will get rid of the squeaking, it will stop the streaks, and it will just make it a nicer car, truth be told. Ooh, undercover in a Peugeot, we should be fearful. Right, back to this Sportage. So genuinely, when it comes to the positives in this car, there are many. And the positives are, it's very, very spacey, if that's a word. Yeah, it's got a lot of space inside of it. The gearbox actually feels pretty nice. It clicks into place very, very nicely. It's got a good driving position. You are a Sorry, back to my positive list. Yeah, it's definitely got a good driving position. I feel like I'm sat in a good way. To be fair, the big windscreen does make quite a difference. It's nice and open, and it feels pretty decent to drive. You know, it's not mega responsive or anything. It gives you a reasonable amount of confidence when you're cruising around. You know, you don't feel like you're overpowering anyone, but at the same time, you don't feel like anyone else is overpowering you. If you get a Range Rover coming up behind you flashing, I love how I picked Range Rover straight away. I could have said BMW X5, I could have said a lot of things, but sorry Range Rover owners. Because this is a 2018 facelift model, what it basically means is that it does come with a few very, very useful extras. Those extras are things like a reverse camera. Over the bumps and over the suspension, it actually feels really cool. Like, it doesn't feel out of place. Obviously it doesn't feel out of place, it's on a road, but what I'm saying is it doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. It deals with the bumps pretty well, despite the fact that it's just a very simple setup. But on the motorway at high speed, it doesn't feel like the car's gonna fall over either, so it's kind of a win on both regards. So what happened with this one? Genuinely, this car here was probably one of my worst mistakes to date, if not my biggest mistake to date. What you gotta understand is that I've started this business off, and sure, things have gone really well. Of course, as you can tell from the first video, with how many cars I sold and how many came in and out, it was working really, really well. The complication of that, and why this one is probably a mistake, and why it was a bad idea going for this car, is actually pretty simple. The capital that I had to hold in the cards beforehand wasn't anything major. If anything, the capitals I held in the cars before, 2, 3, maybe 4 grand, they weren't too bad. And because the cars were on the more affordable end of things, I wouldn't say bangers, but they were kind of in that realm of affordable, still decent, still got a lot of quality. You know, they weren't low down enough that you'd say they were bangers, because they weren't bangers, you know, they weren't old Passats. They were clearly at a price point where they move quickly. So the mistake I made with this one, I thought to myself, I've got more capital now, maybe I can go into some nicer cars. It didn't work that way. And this is the problem. When you've got a car that takes longer to shift, it genuinely causes a headache. Because this car, I wouldn't say it's expensive at all. I mean, the amount of money I got in this car is not like a huge amount, but the retail on this car, and realistically even the money I've got in it, it goes beyond that point of, oh, it's just a cheap runaround. It's a car that people are going to be putting quite a lot of money into. They're going to be very, very specific about what they're after. So your customer, or the right customer for this car, will be a very specific one. It's going to be someone who is going to take their time. It will go, it'll just take its time. And it's sad because the car's nice, it feels nice, it's comfortable, it's been well looked after. This is a one owner from new car, actually, to be fair. The guy had it. It's a late 2018, so it's a facelift, it's a nice car. It's been kept in really good condition. The inside is clean. We've had it cleaned as well, obviously, but it looks very, very nice on the inside. It feels good. Leather wrapped steering wheel as well, so I don't feel like it's a cheap model. But here's the mistake I made with this particular one. On top of the fact that it's a slightly high miler, 116,000 miles, which for a petrol can be a bit off-putting, this one has got a lot of service history with it. And beyond the service history, there was a receipt that I found for, it was well over £1,000 worth of work that was done this year. And it was effectively a top-end rebuild on the engine. So someone's gone in there and refreshed the whole top end of the engine, and it feels beautifully smooth. The engine's really, really nice, to tell you the truth. So it's a lot of car for the money still, but that doesn't change the fact that someone's going to have to spend more than a banger amount or a small amount on this car. Don't forget, you can see all my cars at flagship-cars.com. But this comes on to my next issue about this car. My foot is hard down going up a hill, and I'm maintaining and slowly building my speed. These engines are notorious for being a little bit underpowered. They're not ridiculously slow. You can do motorway speeds, you can accelerate, you can do all that obviously, but, and it is a big but, it's a 1.6 naturally aspirated petrol. So there's no turbo, there's no supercharger, obviously there's no supercharger, but there's no turbo in this car. So yeah, it will get where you want it to go, but it will do so at a gentle pace. For a school run car, great. There's not going to be an issue. But because it's a 1.6, what do they call it? They call it a GDI. And no, it's not a diesel. It's like gasoline direct injection. So it's a petrol, even though the name makes it look like a diesel. Obviously, it's a ULEZ compliant car as well, being a petrol of what it is. So there is a benefit there as well. But as a lot of cars go, it drives well. It does drive well. It doesn't drive amazing. You know, I'm not majorly feeling connected to the road, but it cocoons you in a bit of a high up bubble. The bottom line about this car is it's simple. You will never get excited driving one of these. It'll do the job. The other complaint I do have about this car is I do not think it's good on fuel. And it's one of the reputations of this engine. Although the engine comes from a Honda, which is a good thing you'd think, they're known for being a bit gutless in terms of performance. So they work, but they're just not going to give you, not going to give you any boost. Obviously being no turbo. It weighs a fair bit, so that kind of does add to it as well. Big car, small engine, no turbo, it's going to be a bit gutless, it's just part of it. Because it's a higher miler, you're paying a lot less money than you would for a car that's obviously got a fraction of those miles. So you are getting a good discount and you are getting a good deal. If you can deal with the numbers on the dial, you're actually perfectly fine. We've had that before with a lot of cars. They will just go for a long time, the value of the car will drop purely because of the numbers on the dashboard. In this one, the work that's been done ultimately means that the engine is perfectly sound, and it is. And because it's a modern car, again, the warranty that will come with this will be very comprehensive. It will cover a lot of stuff. So whoever gets this is actually going to be really, really relaxed and looked after. Now we come on to the part which kind of feeds my inexperience with Kias. Trim levels are quite a big thing. So a lot of cars will look at spec. SE, S-Line, M Sport, AMG line, all this kind of trim levels. I didn't know what the Kia's trim levels were. I've only ever seen GT line with one of these, so I didn't think. For a note, he's on it. Woo. Once I bought the car, I realized afterwards the Kia's trim level is numeric. 1, 2, 3, and then GT line. That's the way that the Kia's one work with this with the Sportage. So guess what I got? 1. I got 1, and I noticed afterwards. So that is the entry level model. I bought a 68 plate facelift, lovely Kia Sportage, but if you look at the other side of the coin, the trim level is 1. So that means that there's not much spec. There's no heated seats, they're cloth, but there's not a major kind of fail here. No, that's wrong, there is a fail. Again, I'm talking about cars how I like them. I like a car that's nicely spec'd. There's a lot of people I know who couldn't care less about the spec level. As long as it does the job comfortably and it's got the basics, they don't need any more. I'm not one of those people, unfortunately. I need a premium sound system. You know, to me it makes a big difference when I'm driving. To have an Apple CarPlay system makes a big deal. Sensors, or a camera in this case, that really help out. So if I'm thinking about it in the modern sense, being a late 2018, even an entry level is actually not bad. It's still got cruise control, it's still got obviously the CarPlay. I keep going on about the CarPlay because that's like the main selling factor here. The CarPlay, the reverse camera. Obviously if you don't want to use the CarPlay, it still has the basic Bluetooth and everything. You don't have to plug your phone in for CarPlay. You could just use the wireless Bluetooth. Who's going to waste that feature? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Obviously it's got its adjustable armrest, and you know what, it is, I keep going on about it, it's all you need. So for someone who doesn't care an awful lot about the biggest spec on a car, they just want a car that's practical, spacious, comfortable, good for the kids, big boots, everything's electric, they're not going to feel embarrassed, and it clearly is in very, very good nick. It's got the LED daytime running lights, so it looks like it's modern enough and got enough kit. Of course, when you turn on the headlights and the halogens come on, we can kind of gloss over that. This is leather. All in all, I do think this is one of my biggest mistakes, not because it's a terrible car, but because it will be a slow mover. Yes, there's a mitigation there to say that it might be 116,000 miles, but it's only had one owner. It has been serviced very, very regularly. It's been looked after, clearly. It's in very, very good condition. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, it's a fire. Not a fire, it's a fire engine. Well, not engine, but fire car. See, what do they do, fire cars? Turn up and say there's a fire. Yeah, I like the way that feels. It feels pretty good. It snaps straight in, I like that. One thing that was broken on this car, the sun visor. The bar is missing. Now I've pointed it out, you're not going to unsee that. They are quite cheap though, so I've already ordered a replacement. It's arriving today. I've got a pair for like £35 off eBay, so they're not expensive, and they're a 2-second job to pop out and replace, so that'll be done today when they arrive. But still, for the meantime, it's just annoyed me a little bit. I've never seen that before. Very, very weird. In terms of fuel consumption, they're not great. But after driving it, I can tell you that on the motorway run, I was averaging about 38, late 30s, I would say, in the MPG region, obviously. Around town and stuff now, it is a little bit different. Right, so on this drive here, I've actually been driving it for 42 minutes and I've averaged 36 miles per gallon. And that's all kind of fairly slow moving stuff. So do you know what? It's not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, it is also not the best thing in the world. So we can comfortably say mid to late 30s is what you should expect. In this business, I've learned there's a big difference between what's a good car and what sells well. They're totally different things. This is a good car, no doubt about it. I've driven it enough. I know it well enough by this point now. They're good cars. They're very good cars. In terms of it selling well, I think that the mistake I've made there is just that at this stage, having only 3 cars in stock at a time, it's risky having a car that's a slow mover. Even if it's a good car, it's a higher value item, which just on its own means that there's going to be less people consistently ringing for it. Sorry, the sun's in my eyes. If you've got a car that's a lot cheaper and still a high quality car, they will move just a lot faster. It's not rocket science. The cheaper the car is retail, the faster it's going to move. That's just the way it works most of the time. Cheaper's a terrible word for it. I don't mean cheaper. Lower value items. I'm going to go back to the lower value retail cars, just simply because they're faster movers and it's a completely separate market. Bottom line is, if you're getting a car for, let's say, 3 to 5k, 3 to 5,000 pounds, there's so much you can get in terms of value for money. It's wonderful how good it is. That white 5 Series I had, if you remember, that we checked was £35,000. Actually, it was just over £35,000 new. It was a late 2014, so it was a little over 10 years old, and it sold for £6,000. £6,000, and there's nearly a £30,000 drop in 10 years. But when I had the car, it was near enough immaculate, both mechanically and cosmetically. In that market, those customers are getting such value for money where most of the depreciation has already happened, but they've still got the kind of modern elements, looks and feel. That's the market I want to stay in. This, I don't think meets that. Yes, it's still a bargain when you look at what you're getting, obviously taking in the mileage into consideration. Northwich. I don't even know where I'm going. Yeah, I'm going the wrong way. Where I'm at in my growth right now for the business, I think it was a mistake pulling in something of this value. But for me, having a car sit around for a few months waiting for the right buyer is quite damaging. It might be a car that I think about putting back into the trade and making a loss on it, just because I can make that money back a lot easier shifting lower value items. I don't know, I'm still gonna give it a think, but right now, while a lot of things are moving around, the car's up for retail, it's up for grabs. Don't forget, I deliver all over the UK. I sell to people who live virtually anywhere in the UK. So if this is your sort of thing, go on the website, flagship-cars.com, and you can see the cars that I've currently got in stock. While I've got a lot of things going on, I'll leave this car sat on retail for a while. Obviously with the camera, I'm trying out new angles. Hopefully this one makes a lot more sense. The older Kia Sportages were really known for huge value for money. Great cars, they do the job really well for very, very little money. This generation came out and was instantly a big hit. Company cars, that sort of thing. It worked really well for presentation, and actually just for practicality, it was a great car. The newer generation Kia Sportage, which has now replaced this, obviously, when it comes to company cars, is now a big step forward. Pretty much self-driving and all that stuff's included in it. So if you get one of these, it's already gone down quite a lot. It's a good buy. As you can see, this channel's starting to grow a lot quicker than I expected. Subscribe, and there's going to be a lot more. I don't want to say subscribe, but subscribe. It's free, it helps me out, and it really gives me the chance to grow not only this channel, but also this business, thus being able to give you a lot more of my insight into these cars. As a business, I honestly think the next move for me to do is to grow. But to grow, I'm gonna need a bigger place. I'm gonna need a unit. So that's something I'm currently looking at. I'm actually on the way now to go and look at a unit, so let's see what happens. This channel is going to keep on growing. This kind of content is going to keep on expanding. If those numbers grow, I'm going to put a lot more into this. I'm going to start by getting a new microphone. Watch this journey grow, watch this business grow, subscribe, and I'll show you way more. And you want to be a part of this, and I want you to be a part of it as well. If you haven't seen my first video of starting this business and doing about 20 cars within a few months, hit this video right here, and I'm sure there'll be something there that you will love. I'm praying, I really hope I get this unit, you know. I'm not gonna give you the details yet in case I don't get it, but if I do get it, I'm gonna be thrilled. See, reverse camera right now makes all the difference. Why would you not want this car? I mean, when I first got this car, the handbrake was like 10 clicks. It was just all the way up. Adjusting this was very, very easy. And now it's actually, yeah, it doesn't travel that much. Before it went all the way and hit that. Wish me luck.